A Night with Corrin. Written and commissioned by CrystalMoonlightII and read by Goombasa. Chapter 1. A Night with Corrin. Your simple life is far more exciting all of a sudden. You finally feel as though you're somebody important. Nor is at war with Hoshidan, and your biggest concern is your duty. Lord Ryoma's instructions are simple. You're to escort his sister, Princess Corrin, around camp, make sure she doesn't come to any harm. Assassins from Nor snoop in the shadows. The largest worry for the Crown Prince is making sure his sibling is safe, especially at the moment. Very few people spared you a glance of interest before this, let alone sparked conversation. It was very lonely here in camp, but now you have one special thing to make you smile, even when the dreary gray clouds loom overhead. Princess Corrin. Yes, she may be royalty, but she treats you with kindness and respect. True, protecting her is an order you're following, but it's one you're happy to carry out. It may be little more than idle chatter, but her ladyship talks to you on the way to her tent on the cold winter evenings. Likewise, she greets you with a groggy smile each morning as she fixes her messy bed hair. In some ways, you see a side of her that nobody else is privy to. The rest of the army envisions her as a brave dragon who fights for the freedom of innocent people. No. You see her clumsy side. Once, you even stopped her from falling as she left her tent for an early morning war council. A month ago, you were a soldier. Young, but one of the more skilled swordsmen out of the rank-and-file warriors. The letters you write home to your mother are far more exciting nowadays. Only a handful of the everyday men and women are picked from the army to serve the royal family. After all, that's usually the role of a retainer. But now, you tell jokes every morning with Miss Felicia. You help her carry Corrin's breakfast to her tent on account of her being so clumsy. You've even kept her company while she fumbles her way through laundry. So, yes, your life was quiet before now, and therein lies the issue. All of this time around Princess Corrin is making you look upon her differently. In the single fleeting instant in which you held her hand, simply to pull her to her feet after tripping, your heart thundered, your cheeks felt hot, and what's more, you swear the princess blushed. It's all you've been thinking about recently. The way she looked at you in that single, fragile moment colored everything a romantic shade of red. You know the truth of the matter. Anybody else would tell you the same if you shared this encounter with them. She's a princess. Royal blood flows through her veins. Her powers are the stuff of legends. She can morph her body into the shape of a mighty dragon. Someone as powerful and regal as her would never look at a simple swordsman that way. You're smart, yes. One of the few in your family who can read. You've even captured the hearts of a few pretty tavern girls in your time. This goal, however, the love of a noble woman, it's out of your reach. You know that. There's no sense in dwelling on it either. With your duties done for the day, you might as well get some sleep for the night. Your tent on the edge of camp awaits. Probably for the best, too. You'll have to be awake early to escort the princess tomorrow anyway. Sleep doesn't come to you tonight. No matter how much you want it to. It feels like you've been gazing upward forever, looking for answers to a question. One that you may never find. It's frustrating, true, but there's nothing you can... Hello? A soft, feminine voice whispers at the door of your tent. One you know all too well as of late. But wait. It can't be her, can it? I'm entering, okay? Sorry to disturb you at this late hour. I'm just in need of some company right now. And there, before your very eyes, with no warning and even less time to prepare, stands Princess Corrin. No armor, no fancy battle attire, nothing like that. Just a simple, short nightgown of white cotton. She's barefoot, too, the same as always. It's hard to find the words for this sudden visit. You stumble for many a long minute until finally, you pluck up some courage. How are you feeling, milady? Corrin stalls, hiding her face nervously. carrying a heavy heart tonight, I must confess. The lovely lady plops down at the edge of your simple mattress bed, twiddling her toes dejectedly. The springs slump slightly under the extra weight. She appears lost in thought. Part of you wants to offer her a gentle word of comfort or a pat upon her dainty shoulder, but you decide against it. Takumi lost a friend in the last battle, Corrin tells you with a deep, gloomy sigh. Oboro. I looked away for a second. A Norian fighter swung his axe and she's gone. I couldn't do anything. Corrin looks at you with quivering eyes of silver. I couldn't think of anyone else to speak with. True, I seldom know you personally, but I get the feeling you always listen to me. If only her ladyship knew the truth. You offer Corrin a hand. She appears surprised for a moment, her brow raised. Are you sure? If I'm imposing, it is within your right to ask me to leave. I'll not order you around like my brother. You insist on it. It's not an issue. Besides, you smile faintly at the thought of Lord Ryoma. Your brother isn't hard on me, all things considered. Corrin flashes you a look of thanks, knotting her fingers with yours, shuffling across the bed to sit beside you. Tell me about yourself, won't you? Anything to take my mind off my feelings. What is there to tell? Your life is far less flush than hers. You imagine Lady Corrin has spent her entire life in luxurious castles, eating only the finest of foods. Your family wasn't poor, no. They had just enough money to send you to a combat academy before you joined the army, but they didn't have land or vast swaths of property. You keep small by talking about your mother and father. Simple people, really. Nothing to write home about. As much as you try to keep things brief as to not sound self-absorbed, you also talk about your time at the academy in the Hoshidan capital, too. I suppose the most eventful thing out of all of this was a lass I cared for dearly. We haven't spoken since before the war started. We used to travel the streets together every night when I was free of my soldiering tasks. From alehouse to alehouse we'd go, together. As uneventful as your life sounds, minus a couple of moments of conflict and drama, Corrin seems thrilled by the conversation. Wow, you had the freedom to wander the city as you pleased? Such a simple luxury sounds wonderful, even if I'd only been given the freedom to see a tavern with my own eyes. There wasn't much freedom when I was a little girl. I was kept in a fort near the Norian border. My servants were my only company. You weren't expecting to hear that, not at all. It makes you feel a tiny bit sad, in fact. Corrin is a little cheerier, though. She's not looking anywhere near as withdrawn as she did when entering your tent. The princess giggles. You don't talk much, do you? Well, apart from right now. It's kind of sweet, really. Mysterious, even. Talking has never really been your thing. You've dedicated much of your life to mastering the sword. You prove yourself through swings of the blade, not through chatter. Such a thing doesn't end wars, especially since the kingdoms of Nor and Hoshido won't get around the negotiation table to talk. This is one of those rare moments where you open up about your feelings regarding the struggle between the two sides. Corrin listens intently to your story. She seems especially enthralled when you tell her that despite the risk, you always fight on the front line outside of your duties as her escort. That's when her grip upon your hand tightens. It takes you by surprise. Please be careful, won't you? I know you want to be brave and all, but... An abrupt pause from Corrin brings a nervous silence to the room. If word reaches me that you've died, then it would hurt me to no end. I do so enjoy you greeting me each morning when I rise for the War Council. I've become quite accustomed to it, so please, I ask you kindly. Your heart skips a beat when Corrin leans in close, staking her claim to your arm, gently squeezing your bicep. Stay safe. A request that you'll endeavor yourself to carry out from this day forth. To know that Lady Corrin is concerned for you is something of a gift, though it would be hard to tell her that. I'll do my best to be careful. That's something I can assure you of. I'm glad. Corrin sighs with relief, placing her head of long, silky white hair upon your shoulder. Because I must admit that
In my short time of knowing you, I've become very fond of your company, small as it may be. In fact—"
Corrin releases you from her gentle grasp and edges back, her breath hitching. The low light of the moon shines through the opening of your tent, basking the room in a mystical glow. The princess gazes into your soul. Her cheeks are washed a tender shade of pink. The next thing you realize, her lips and yours are joined. Corrin leans into you. You close your eyes as she embraces you. She's light, something of a featherweight despite her height, but the surprise of it all knocks you onto your back. Her taste, her touch, the sweet scent of her flowing hair, all of these amazing things hold you in a trance. Corrin backs away. Your lips part. She's holding you to the bed with two smooth hands against the vest shirt of your nightclothes. The room feels red hot all of a sudden. If your heart beats any louder, it'll feel like a drum inside your head. Another kiss from the wonderful woman, this one upon your sweat-glistened forehead, pushes you to the limit of your restraint.
"Can I stay here tonight? With you?"
Without so much as a thought, you sweep Corrin into your embrace, holding her against your chest with an arm around her slim middle. She's so close to you now. You feel the heat of her body against yours. There's no need for words. The single loving tear in your eye tells her all she needs to know. For once, you feel truly special.
"But first,"
Corrin places a gentle peck on your cheek.
"tell me your name. Weeks by your side, and you haven't shared it with me."
If Corrin wishes for your name, then you are more than happy to oblige. Keiji. It's not the fanciest of names, but my mother gave it to me, after my uncle.
"Well, Keiji, you'll be happy to know that I quite like it."
Corrin places her hands in your lap and cuddles closer. Her breaths tickle your neck. She's so very warm. It's been a long time since someone made you feel this way.
"Thank you for letting me speak with you. I mean it."
Corrin is thanking you? She doesn't need to. It's your distinct pleasure. Anything to see her smile. Think nothing of it. You join your lips with those of the lovely dragoness. You feel like the luckiest man in the world.